What's up, guys? Bob Kid here, back again. Welcome back to the Opinion Spot. Today, guys, is very interesting. It's just an interesting topic because I get asked this question a lot, and I forget the last person that asked me this question. But this person was a fellow comic fan. I just can't remember the person's name off the top of my tongue, but it was very interesting because somebody asked me this question. I get this question a lot, and it's involving two characters from, I guess you could say, the Ant-Man universe, and one of the characters is the quote-unquote third Ant-Man, the irredeemable Ant-Man, known as Eric O'Grady. And the other character that I've been getting asked recently, the last time, was Nadia Pym, the second Wasp. And the question has been always, should they be introduced in the MCU? So I thought I'd give my opinion on that, because this is the Opinion Spot, right? And I'd love to hear from you guys as well. So let's start off with Eric O'Grady. Not my favorite Ant-Man. Not at all, really. I'm not the biggest fan of Eric O'Grady. I think he was a punk. I thought he was a liar, a cheapskate, a jerk, a pervert at times, and pretty much he was. Eric O'Grady was a low-level S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. If you ever read Robert Kirkman's, because he was created by Robert Kirkman, the same guy who created Walking Dead and Invincible and all those, Robert Kirkman, and I forget the artist that was also Phil Hester. There we go, Phil Hester. He was a low-level S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that did anything he could to get to the top. He was a irredeemable liar, cheat. He did anything he could to get to the top. Hank Pym was working on a new Ant-Man suit for S.H.I.E.L.D. at one point. And I forgot what it was. It's called the GI Ant-Man suit, GI armor, because it looked different from the Ant-Man. But from Ant-Man, what you see, Ant-Man usually has, the tights and the helmet that is able to help him talk to the ants and everything like that, and Pym particles are in him. But with this, it was like an armored, powered suit that looked like something Tony Stark would make, and it had limbs that would come out of his arm, kind of like the spider armor. And of course, Eric O'Grady stole it. He took it, and of course, things went from there. But over time, he became like the butt of everybody's joke in terms of the difference between Hank Pym and Scott Lang. Hank had some issues, but he was also still a good hero. Scott had his problems, but he was a thief, but he did it for all the right reasons. He had a family. Eric O'Grady has none of those. But over time, he became a pretty good, he found himself, even sacrificed himself. He became a part of the Secret Avengers and everything like that, and it kind of helped him at times. But the question is, would I want him to be thrown into the MCU? Would I want him? We know there's a third Ant-Man coming. So is it time for Eric O'Grady to take over or come into the MCU? My opinion is not really. I really wouldn't care for Eric O'Grady being in the MCU. I really wouldn't. It'd be cool to have him, but story-wise, it would not make any sense because of the fact that, one, S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone. They still kind of do it like he's down on his luck and anything like that, but how would they go about it? There are probably ways they could do it. Like, they could say, yeah, Hank, when he was working for S.H.I.E.L.D., he did make the GI armor, Ant-Man armor, and he wants to get it back, maybe before someone tries to steal it. I don't know. But I just can't see him in there. It'd be cool to see somebody that can work off of Paul Rudd's Scott Lang and come off pretty good and come off pretty well and kind of carry that same kind of attitude that Scott Lang had. I remember somebody saying like Jason Scott Williams could probably play the role of Scott Lang, which, you know, same guy who played Stifler. But I mean, I wouldn't be against it, but I don't think it's needed. I really don't think it's needed to add the third Ant-Man into the MCU without sophistic reasons. I can't get that out. But just coming out, oh, he's the perverted Ant-Man. You know, I just don't think it's needed. He did over time become a villain, like he became Black Ant and all that other stuff. But yeah, no, I don't really think so. I wouldn't mind, but Eric O'Grady, no thanks. Now, in terms of Nadia Pym, Nadia Pym is very interesting because she came into the comics at a time when Scott was practically not Scott, Hank, her father was dead, and then later on he merged with his ultimate creation, Ultron. So they're like merged together. It's kind of crazy. It's kind of scary too. But Nadia Pym, in comics wise, she is Hank Pym's daughter, but she's not Janet Van Dyne's daughter. Hank was married before he met. He was married before, and she was his ex-wife was killed, I believe. And Nadia was raised in the Red Room, the same place where Black Widow learned how to become Black Widow. And she was able to siphon Pym particles, and she was able to escape. And, you know, she tried to find her dad and everything like that, because she always just heard about him. She did find Janet, and, you know, she became the new Wasp. Janet's still the Wasp, don't get me wrong, but she has a really good relationship with her. I guess you could say her stepmom, which is fine. That's kind of cool. But what I want to see her in the MCU, it'd be really interesting once again with that, because one, I keep saying Scott, Hank and Janet, they have a daughter, Hope. Hope is funny because Hope is actually a character from the Marvel 2 comics, where the heroes had grown and got older and they all had kids. Same place where Mayday Parker comes from and all that Earth. But they incorporated it into the MCU, so Hope is there. So they would really have to tell a story, like, in terms of like, okay, did Hank have a daughter before he met, you know, I don't think they would go that route. Like, it's hard to say, okay, when was Hope conceived? When did he and Janet get married, and when they got together? Or was it this was just a one night stand, and he got this, I forget Hope's, I forget Nadia's mother's name and things like that. But I just don't think they would do that either. I just don't think they would do that. The only way I could probably see them doing it is if, I would say maybe if Nadia is, they switched it and said she's the child of Scott Lang and Hope. That's maybe the way they could go about it. But then it's like, but wait, she took the Van Dyne name instead of Lang. That's another way of probably doing it. For me personally, Nadia will be great, but I'm not really wanting to see her right now either. I more want to see Cassie in her superhero persona, whether it's Stature, whether she goes by Stature or she goes by the name Stinger. Personally, me, I want her to be stature, where she is, you know, growing like kind of like, you know, she's size manipulated, she grows instead of shrinks. But I wouldn't mind her being Stinger either. But we all know that they probably are working on Cassie. Cassie has said, you know, when she was a little girl, she could do what her dad does. Now that we know that she's older now, we could see, you know, some shape or form of the Young Avengers. I really wish I could remember who asked me this, because like I said, guys, before, whenever you guys can ask me to do topics on the opinion spot, I will do them. I really wish you actually can remember who asked me to do this, or just give my opinion on it. My opinion on both of these characters, Eric O'Grady and Nadia Pym, are cool, but I think they're not needed. They're really not needed. You would really have to explain where Nadia has been. Yeah, you could say the Red Room and everything like that, but it's also the point of she would probably have to be older, because Hank in the MCU is older, and also, when was she conceived? That's the other one. I'm just saying. But with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. What do you guys feel? Would you want to see these two characters in the MCU someday? Or do you feel they're not really needed at all, or right now they should focus more on Cassie? Because that's my opinion also. Focus on Cassie, in my opinion. But other than that, guys, this is Mount Vernon Kid. This is the Opinion Spot. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Deuces.